Hey loves, welcome to Faith Times Fitness Podcast, where we discuss wellness from a kingdom mindset, helping women bridge the gap of faith and fitness. I am your host, Shanara Norwood, aka Cha Cha. Let's go. Hey loves, welcome back to part 2 of Finding New Energy, where I'll be discussing my last 2 points of periods of emotional stress and poor diet. If you listen to episode 1, we talked about lack of sleep, not getting enough rest, and not getting enough physical activity and not enough exercise. And so we're going to jump into the last 2 points. And I feel like exercise leads with poor diet. They coincide. And so we're going to talk about poor diet and dehydration. And it's an important topic because I don't think we realize how much our eating affects our energy and how much we emotionally eat. I had an episode, if you haven't listened to that one about emotional eating, please make sure you tune into that one because it's an important aspect of our life, our daily life, is our proper diet and how we're eating and how our body is responding to food. Because a lot of times when you are lacking the energy and you're tired and you start to go into like a brain fog, you start to eat things that add to the brain fog. So you're eating a lot of carbs, junk, things of that nature, picking up things here and there. I know for me, I have a very bad habit of doing that when I'm tired or I don't have energy to cook. We'll eat out a lot. And sometimes that kind of stuff is just not healthy for your body. Even though they're starting to make a lot of restaurants where they have healthier stuff, which is good. But that's not always our go-to. We want something real quick. And real quick can cost us our energy. Real quick can cost us brain fog. And so lack of preparation leads to poor performance. And what I mean by that is sometimes we have to take initiative and get ahead of a thing and start planning out our meals and start buying healthier snacks and start packing lunches so that we're getting our proper nutrition throughout the day and not just picking up anything and eating it when we feel like it, or when we get a little stressed, or when we feel like, oh, I need some energy. Let me pick up something, sugary or sweet. Because what sugar actually does is make us more hungry. It causes the body to crave more sugar, more of something to eat, because it's a high energy, quick energy source. And regardless of how much we eat it, we're going to be hungry in the next 30 minutes because it's already trying to burn that up. But see, if our body is not burning it fast enough, what happens? It turns into fat. And what happens with fat? It causes the extra weight, which causes us to feel even more tired and have even less energy. This is why our diet is very important throughout the day. This is how we avoid the high blood pressure, the inflammation, and fatty liver disease, and different diseases that develop from our poor diet, because things will progress over time. No, they don't happen right away, but your body will tell on you over time. Your body will start to show signs of different things. And this is why amongst women, heart disease is so high. It's because most of the time it is our poor diet. And I'm just as guilty. I can only talk to myself, minister to myself as I minister to you, as they say in the church, because it starts with what you're doing as an individual for yourself. And then you can share the information with others. And I have been guilty of the yo-yo of letting life get ahead of me and not taking control over my diet. And this is how the cycle starts. It's a cycle of low energy. It's a cycle of gaining weight. It's a cycle of being unhappy. It's a cycle of leading to other physical ailments in the body. It's a cycle, but it's a slow progression for some. For me, I know I immediately, and it seems like you put on weight quicker than you lose it. So I immediately start to gain the weight in my midsection. I immediately start to feel heavy and like just tired. And it is not just because I want to look good, and I talk about weight loss or I talk about maintaining my weight. It's because I don't want to feel heavy. I don't want to feel bad. Start keeping a journal of different things or a note of when you eat certain foods, how you feel after you eat them. Because Thanksgiving just passed and a lot of us be in food comas after we eat all that heavy food. You know why? Because it takes a long time to digest that stuff. That's why we feel so heavy. That's why we feel so tired. That's why we want to go to sleep after we eat a big meal or certain foods. So you have to start asking yourself, how do I feel after I've eaten a certain food? So every morning I wake up and I have a shake and tea. The shake is because I am on a go a lot. And so I have to have something that fuels my body. So whether it be a meal replacement or a protein shake or both. If you don't like shakes, make sure you're prepping your oatmeal. So get up in enough time to have that oatmeal prepped. If you don't like oatmeal, prep those bacon and eggs, whatever it takes. Because see here, we got a lot of excuses, but excuses leave us undisciplined. It leaves us unwise. It leaves us unhealthy. Also, we have to pay attention to how much fluid we're intaking during the day. Specifically water. Water is very important to keep us hydrated. A lot of times we don't have energy because we're dehydrated or we're not drinking enough water. And that's a simple fix. Get you a water jar, get you a jug off of Amazon, fill it up and drink it throughout the day. Get you water bottles, make it a goal. And I know, trust me, I know, because I'm constantly going to the bathroom. But water cleans your system out. Being dehydrated causes the constipation. It causes the indigestion and the irregularity of your digestive system. It also causes brain fog. It also causes fatigue. So getting your water throughout the day is also very important. And the last thing I want to talk about that causes us to have lack of energy is periods of emotional stress. So whether that be depression, anxiety, or just the stresses of daily life, or dealing with family, dealing with events or whatever is going on, this can cause us to not have energy. And a lot of times we don't even know that we're stressed until it's overwhelming. We don't even know that we're having depression or anxiety until it's overwhelming. So for me, when I was diagnosed with depression, I didn't know that I was depressed. I knew that I felt sad at times. I knew that I was tired. And so I went to the doctor and I said, I'm tired. Test my blood. Maybe something's going on. My thyroids, the different things that cause you to be fatigued. And so the doctor ended up giving me a test and it asked me about different life events and things like that. So basically she gave me a test on depression and she came back and said, well, you're mildly depressed. Huh? I'm depressed? No, I'm tired. I don't feel good. No. And you don't feel good and you're tired because you're depressed. And that really was an eye opener for me, that I was functioning in this state of depression and really did not understand that that's what was going on with my body. So a lot of times, it looks different for different people. Our stress causes us to be tired. Dealing with just life itself and the things going on in the atmosphere makes us tired and drains us. So this is why it is very important for us to find the new energy in the Lord. Because the word says to come to him if you're weary, if you're burdened, if you're tired. The Lord knows how to strengthen us. The Lord knows how to direct each of our days. And so he gives us the strength, the energy, the wisdom to know and recognize what's going on when we go to him and ask him. When we stop and take a moment to say, okay, God, what is going on with me? What is it that I'm doing too much of? What am I not doing enough of? And he'll tell you. He'll tell you because we find our strength in him. A lot of times we're doing a lot in our own strength, and that ought not be. And that's why we're tired. That's why we don't have any energy, because we're doing things according to what we think we should be doing or what we think we can handle. And God ain't never really instructed us to do certain things. And that's another thing. That's something that I'm going to talk about in my next episode of being overwhelmed. We take on a lot of stuff that God ain't never really instructed us to do. And then we want to say, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Yes, of course we can. Only in the things that he's given us to do. Think about that. We praying and asking the Lord for strength. We praying to him and asking for all this stuff. But it's like, okay, I'm going to strengthen you for the task that I have for you, for your daily walk with me. And so that's why in the beginning I said it's about getting up and finding that new energy, that new strength in him each day. It's important that we go back to the Father each day. This is a daily walk, not a every once in a while. I'll come to you when I'm just overwhelmed. I'm gonna just come to you when I really need you. No, we have to go to the Father every day. Because let me tell you something. When you don't go to him every day, when you don't get instructions for each day, that's when your life starts being all over the place. That's when your energy starts being drained. That's when you become weary and tired and burdened down with life. And so I'm going to leave you with this verse in Isaiah. It's Isaiah 40 verses 29 through 31. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youth grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fail. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So in other words, God got you on every aspect. Just as simple as the energy for the day. He got you, boo. So ain't no reason that we can't have energy. There's no excuse. None. Because God got us on every side. Period. So I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. There are some things that I talked about at the end of this episode that I want to talk about more in depth on my next episode, how to overcome being overwhelmed. I'm going to discuss the things that cause us to be overwhelmed and how we can overcome being those obstacles or those things that make us overwhelmed. I will be putting the verses from this episode in the show notes, along with some other verses on God's strength and getting renewed in God's strength, and God keeping us for our daily walk with him and finding new energy in God. Once again, I pray that this episode has blessed you. Make sure that you share this episode with others that might need it. Also, make sure that if you haven't already, that you're subscribed and you rate the show. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Again, as always, be well, be blessed, be whole, my loves.